Hello, my name is May, and welcome to this podcast. Today, I'm going to be talking about all things voice-related in a gender transition sense. I am a trans feminine woman, and I think of my voice as kind of a malleable entity. This thing that I can tone up, or I can tone down. I can raise the pitch a bit, or I can just kind of speak where it's comfortable. While a lot of people don't really have to think about the way they speak, when you're kind of in those queer spaces, especially in transgender spaces, your voice can be a key part to your person and your identity. Your voice is your instrument. Now, just so I don't bombard you with a bunch of technical stuff, the three things that I want you to take away are the three major points of modifying your voice to your gender. There is larynx height, there's the amount of space in your mouth, and then there's certain ways you articulate certain phonemes. And I'm gonna break down each one so that you have a better understanding of the different parts that go into modifying your voice. Now let's start with larynx height. Larynx height is moving your larynx up and down. If you don't know what your larynx is, it's where your Adam's apples are for male at birth people, where the little bump is, that if you yawn, it moves down. If you put your hand on your throat, you can feel something move up and down. To get a feminine voice, you want to move that up. So you're shortening the track to make it sound, some people would say younger, other people would say more feminine.
And if you want a low larynx position, you sound more masculine because there's more space for it to resonate in your throat.
Resonation is a very key component to the way your voice sounds. Not everything is pitch. There are some components to pitch that we'll get around to when we talk about phonemes and the way you say certain things, the way you emphasize things, that's later. For right now, just think about raising your larynx. There are different exercises that you can look up. The one that I'll give you here is practice swallowing. When you swallow, your larynx moves up, just naturally. Think about that feeling. Whenever you swallow, your larynx moves up. And obviously, there's way more to it than just swallowing. So you're gonna have to go a little further than this, but right now we're just gonna touch on the basics. Okay. Next, we have the shape of your mouth. How much space is in your mouth? Let's say you have a lot of space in your mouth. The sound resonates a lot more. It changes the sound very subtly, as opposed to like a smaller mouth position, which, just like the larynx, there's less space for the sound to reverberate. So if I move my tongue up, the space gets smaller. And if I move my tongue down, then there's a little bit more space. It becomes a little more hollow. It's a very subtle thing, but it's there. And this kind of leaks into the next quality, which is changing how you say certain phonemes. Phonemes are sounds, pretty much. It's how we say words. One of the defining characteristics of a feminine voice is changing your S's. Or more masculine voice, your tongue kind of goes flat for a lot of S's. It's really hard for me to do this right now. So bear with me if it doesn't sound exactly right. For more feminine S's, it goes up. So there's a bit more of a sharpness here. And there are different ranges that you can go with this. Once you practice enough with that heightened or lowered larynx position, you're thinking about how much space you want in your mouth and your articulation, it all just starts to become second nature. There's a whole lot of ways to express gender with your voice. I personally like a more feminine, androgynous kind of cadence to my voice, so I don't go full femme. I try to stay away from a more masculine sound as well. You can incorporate more things like how different genders emphasize things. More femininely, pitch is used more to emphasize points, as opposed to masculinely, which uses volume, and little things like that. Don't be afraid to play around, and when you're modifying each element, see how much you like it. If you want a more lowered larynx position, but you like that different articulation like a sharper S, or more articulated phonemes, play around with it, see what you like. It's your voice, it's your instrument. You can do whatever you want with it, and that's what makes your voice special. That's all I have for this episode. There's probably not gonna be another one of these, but thank you so much for listening. And I will see you later.